Aloha, Brett Christensen here with Maui Property, and today we're going to go over how to assess short-term rental performance. We get asked about this all the time. It's pretty much our most common question because these short-term rentals, they bring in cha-ching, cha-ching, quite a lot of money, but they do cost quite a bit. So if you're going to spend all that money, you're going to want to do your homework and make sure it's worth it. So today we're going to teach you how to do that. You can do it yourself. We'll give you the tools that you need. But if you're not willing to make your reports, we can do it for you. Just let us know. But today we're going to go over that. Even if we're making the reports, you should understand the different parts of these reports. All right, let's get started. First, let's just talk about what is a short-term rental on Maui. So currently there's an estimated 6,700 properties on Maui that don't even need a permit to operate as a short-term rental due to their existing zoning or other qualifying entitlements. Now there's another category, and that's what we call STRHs, short-term rental homes, and then B&Bs. So there's about 380 of properties in that category, and those are really likely residential homes that applied for a permit and were able to get a short-term rental permit, but that applies for that owner, doesn't actually transfer to the next owner. The main tool that you're going to use for assessing these short-term rentals is what we call pro forma. Now, pro forma, not per forma, pro forma, this is a Latin word, 2 words. So this allows you to assess the performance of a short-term rental. The key components of a pro forma is really your income and expenses and an analysis of those two. Now, if you want to get a free copy of a pro forma that you can actually work, we're here on the Maui Property website. This is a live view. Put a link to this page. This is on our buyer's information page. So this page here is all about what we're talking about today. And this is just a graphic on the screen, but you can actually get a copy of this if you just click this link right here. See, it says download a copy of the condo pro forma calculator. So if you click that, and then you will get, this will load up, and there you go. So this is an actual spreadsheet that you can punch numbers into and kind of play around with. If you're looking at a condo, if you can get some idea of what kind of numbers you can expect, plug your numbers in and you can start to see what kind of return you can expect on that property. I have another one here that I did for a property we're going to go over today, which is right here. So Wailea Kolu is a really nice complex here in Maui, Wailea. Right here, I click on this guy, the 1.8. These actually perform really well. They are in Wailea. They're very spacious. Okay, here we actually have the rental history of this unit for sale at Wailea Kolu. These are all the numbers from last year. And we can see here their actual total revenue was $163,000. So this is not a pro forma, but this is the actual breakdown of the income and expenses for the unit. So it's great if you're assessing a specific unit, if you can get the rental history. But often, and here's the thing you really need to remember is the rental history of a unit is often not going to give you an accurate assessment of what this unit can do for you, because there's a couple of factors you should think about. Number one is how much has the owner used the unit? Some of these units, these people own them so they can actually use them themselves. When they're not using them, then they rent them out. So, but using the unit yourself, obviously you have no revenue coming in. So sometimes when you're assessing a specific unit, it's really nice if you can look at other units that are in the same complex that are very similar in quality to see what they are doing. The other factor is some of these units are not up to grade. If they're not done properly, they're going to underperform. So when you're shopping for vacation rentals, you're going to likely be looking at some underperforming units because there's actually a lot of them out there, believe it or not. There's a lot of owners out there that are not willing to invest the money to upgrade the unit so it's up to really modern standards. A lot of these owners have owned them for a very long time, usually multiple generations, and they might have remodeled 20 years ago and it's good enough for them. They come every year. They love it just the way it is. It makes money. they get to use it, everybody's happy. When it comes to the rental history of the unit, it isn't always possible to get a hold of that. Sometimes these units, even though they're short-term rentals, have not been used for rentals, or even sometimes, the family uses it half the year. So even if you get your hands on it, it's not a good representation of what you're going to want to do with the unit. So when you do get your hands on one, if let's say it's a full-time vacation rental, then that's a nice report to look at. And the first thing that I always look at is the occupancy rate and the rental rates. And then I'll go and compare those to other units in the same complex to see how they line up. And often there's quite a bit of variance. Could be some owners manage themselves and they just keep their prices low and they book out really fast and they're happy with the numbers and they don't really worry about what everybody else is doing. And then you have the other people that are super aggressive and just wait for everybody to book out their dates, and they wait till the last 3 months before the dates are actually arriving, and then they start booking for completely different prices and they crush it. They do some really nice numbers. So we've looked at the rental history, and now we're looking at the pro forma for this unit. Now, what I did actually is look at some other units in the complex, and I'll show you how I did that. And I was curious on what's happening in the future, because what we're actually seeing is the prices going up. It's not a big jump, but prices, it's interesting when you really look at the marketplace. There's quite a bit of variation in pricing in these complexes. Even in the same building, you might have quite a difference in pricing, and there's a real supply demand thing going on. The same thing that happens to airline tickets is the same thing that happens to vacation rentals. People that are really smart about how they book their units will actually wait to book them because they know they can get more money for their units if they book to people no longer than 3 months out. That's a good little tip for you. If you can block off your dates and not rent them till you get closer to those dates, you will likely be able to get more money for those nights. Just like when you're booking airline tickets, when you're ready to book, you bought your plane tickets, you got to find a place to stay. And those people are willing to pay whatever it takes to get into a unit. If you really want to get deep into the analysis, Pricelabs.co is a company that we use sometimes to analyze a property. You can create your own account if you want. They do a 30-day free trial. So for this complex, I did a detailed search, and I made a list of comps. So I have 7 comps here. These are all 2-bedroom, 2 baths in the same complex. These are top performing units, and you can see in this data here that they have different average night costs per night, occupancy rates from 91% down to 78%. No 2 units are the same. But down here, you can see average revenue per month. Occupancy rate is a nice factor to be looking at. These are all averages, right, between the different units. You can see if you zoom in here, you can create a little grouping, which is what I did. So this is the complex right here. So I just went over here, grabbed the little lasso tool, and actually just drew a little circle around the whole complex. Like that. So I made a little map. I'm going to create comparable set. I'll say generate set. Now I have to pick the units. So I'm going to sort by number of bedrooms. Okay, so this is showing me the 2 bedrooms. I can go through here, and so units in here that don't have much activity, you're not even going to want to consider using. But if we go to this first page, so as you can see, there's quite a few units in this complex that I can get the data on to compare, to create a comparable group. So we can go ahead and pick some of these more active units. And what's kind of neat is you can even click on the link and take a look at the unit. Of course, you want to get as close to either how the unit looks now, or if you want to remodel it, you can look at what are these top performing units doing. Look at the pictures, look at the videos, and try to understand what does it take to get the same numbers that you're seeing on this report. So you can see the actual star rating, the number of reviews, the price, the estimated occupancy and the estimated revenue of these units. Okay, now we're going to generate a comp set. So I'll click there. And now this is going to analyze all this data for us. Okay, so now we have down here a bunch of metrics that are going to help us understand what we can expect from a unit in this complex. And you can use this data to fill out your pro forma, which is right here. Moving forward, guys. So the types of expenses you can expect when owning one of these units and operating an STR is, number one, probably the biggest fee is the management fee. Of course, you can do this yourself. It's a lot of work. That's a whole nother video. But you got your management fee, which there's no set price. We have seen up to in the 40% range and down to 20%. And you might be able to get a little bit lower than 20%, but often with those types of companies, there's going to be a lot of paper cuts, a lot of extra added on fees. So it's good to shop around. We have an in-house company, but we also we often refer out people. Depends on where you are on the island and what kind of condo it is, and that will help you define which company is going to be best match for you. So you've got your management fee, you've got your HOA fees. Now, HOA fees are different in every complex as far as what's included. Usually at the very least, you're going to have anything exterior covered, from roofing to painting, sometimes work on the lanais, sometimes even windows. Sometimes electric's included, sometimes internet's included, but not always. So every complex is different, and you just got to ask and do your homework and figure out who's paying for that. You got your property taxes, you got your insurance. So there's insurance for your in your unit. There's also insurance for outside your unit, but that's usually included in your HOA fee. Now linen fees, that depends on what kind of management company you're using, but that you might be paying for that out of pocket. It all depends on how the unit is being managed. There's going to be other expenses, of course, like just basic repairs. That comes up. You've got sometimes credit card processing fees. So there are a lot of fees that start to add up. The cleaning fees, of course, and usually you are charging the guest for those cleaning fees, and sometimes people are even making money off of those. They're charging more than what their actual out-of-pocket cost is. And if you're doing, 6 changeovers in 1 month, if you have a little margin in there, that can start to add up even. It's not a lot, but you definitely don't want to be losing money on your cleaning fee. And probably one of the last major ones would be just any debt service. If you're taking out a loan, then of course that's going to cut into the bottom line. So when it comes to expenses, it's definitely important that you do your homework and pencil out what it's going to cost to maintain the unit, keep it going, and then now you got to look at your income. So make sure you double check your expenses. You don't want to mess this up because then your whole calculation is going to be wrong. Okay, so now you've filled out all of your income and expenses areas of your pro forma, and you want to assess, you're going to input the cost of the unit, and this calculator is going to tell you your cap rate, your cash on cash rate. What kind of return are you going to get for your money? Now, keep in mind, this is with hiring a property management company. When you hire a property management company, theoretically, you're really not doing anything. They're doing all the work. You are basically collecting a check and communicating with them about some stuff like maybe repairs and maintenance, and but that's about it. You're not doing really anything. You do hear about people managing these units on their own. It's totally doable, but it is a job. It takes a lot of work. You need to be super responsive. You need to have a whole team of people that you're in communication with all the time. Make sure they're doing their jobs, and you have a lot at stake when it comes to these rentals. Your reviews are super important. And of course, it's important that you do a good job and your guests are happy and they get what they paid for. So at the bottom of the pro forma, we have the net to owner. So that's your actual take home. And then you've got your purchase price, and then it calculates out your cap rate. So this is the return you're actually getting on your investment, the cash on cash return for the money you spent buying this unit. This is not a perfect pro forma. I whipped this together pretty fast, But on this one, I've calculated at 5.4% return that you'd be getting if you paid all cash for this unit, just our example unit here, Wailea Kolu. Now at the bottom here, you'll see it says cleaning fees, transient accommodation taxes, GE taxes. Those are paid directly by the guests. So I'm not going to go over that. We have a different video you can watch. We'll put a link to that down below if you want to learn more about short-term rental taxes and how they're calculated. But this hopefully is giving you a good sense of how to assess a short-term rental. So in the end, you're trying to net the most money, of course, and get the best return on your investment. And when we do these pro formas, they're never going to be perfect. Everything's always changing, demand, costs, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we are seeing people getting around 5% up to 10%, even when the unit is managed. Of course, if you self-manage, the numbers can go way higher, but now you've just taken on a whole job. So there's a cost of time and energy from you, but you are getting paid for your time. It is important that you do these calculations and set goals and really monitor everything as time goes on, because it's a great way to keep track of how well your manager is doing. And if they're slacking, you're going to notice if your numbers are way off target. Okay, guys, we have made it to the end of the video. Thank you for sticking with me till the end. We are done going over pro formas, your number one tool for assessing short-term rentals. We have this available on our website. The link should be below in the video. Having someone to help you through this process can make a big difference in finding the right property for you where you get the best return on your money. We'd be happy to help you. This is our website behind me, mauiproperty.com. Come check us out. We'd be happy to help you. We have plenty more information on there. If you go to the buyers page, you can scroll through there. You're going to find answers to most of your questions. Anytime we get a question more than once or twice, we go ahead and just make a page, put a bunch of info on there, even make videos if we can, videos like this. So please hit the like button below, subscribe to our channel, and really thank you so much. If you have any more questions, please reach out to us. You know, if you want to check out Pricelabs.co, they have, if you go there, they have a 30-day free trial. It's kind of neat to get in there and start looking at different buildings and seeing, you know, what other properties are doing. All right, so thank you so much, and see you next time. Aloha.